So, final video of the day, hopefully. Alright, so let's get to the day 2 of the Donald Trump election interference trial. We have half a jury. Alright, so first 6 jurors are chosen for Trump's hush money criminal trial. 12 more still needed. Oh yeah, they also need 5 alternates. So, but yes, still half a jury has been seated. The first 6 jurors for Donald Trump's hush money trial were chosen Tuesday after lawyers grilled members of the jury pool about their social media posts, political views, and personal lives to decide whether they can sit in fair judgment of the former president. The jurors include an English teacher, an oncology nurse, and a corporate lawyer. Huh. How did that one get through? A corporate lawyer? This is basically a corporate... It's a criminal trial, but it's falsifying business records. That's corporate, in my mind. So, I'm surprised that the defense allowed that one through. 12 more people still need to be selected before opening statements begin in the Manhattan case accusing the Republican of falsifying business records to cover up a sex scandal during his 2016 campaign. On the second day of jury selection, New Yorkers were quizzed for hours about their views on Trump and other issues, and 8 were excused after saying they cannot be impartial or because they had other commitments. Trump's lawyers challenged a handful of people over social media posts, and one person was dismissed over a 2017 post about Trump that said, "Lock him up." Let's see here. So 8 were excused after saying they could not be impartial or because they had other commitments. So I guess something happened since yesterday, because my understanding is this is what's left over from the original 96 from yesterday. Not that this is a new pool of jurors, potential jurors. So, I mean, things happen, so maybe since yesterday something came up, or people thought about it and they're like, do I really want to deal with this Trump trial? That's possible too. Let's see. So, Trump's lawyers challenged people over social media posts. And yeah, it makes sense that one person was dismissed over a lock him up post. I mean, I could never, considering my social media use, I could never sit on this jury because I've done plenty of posts. So, yeah, I can see that, but I'm still surprised. Did they run out of challenges? How did a corporate lawyer get on this? I still find that interesting. Several would-be jurors told the judge they believed they could decide the case fairly, no matter their feelings about Trump or his policies as president. And technically, that is doable. The trial, which began Monday, puts Trump's legal problems at the center of his closely contested race against President Joe Biden. It's the first of Trump's 4 criminal cases to go to trial, and may be the only one to reach a verdict before voters decide in November whether to elect the presumptive GOP presidential nominee. And if that happens, the other 3 cases are probably going to go poof. Great. I thought there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, yes, and for some reason, this is helping his fundraising. It's helping him in the polls. I have no idea how this is actually helping. Trump looked on in the courtroom as his lawyers urged the judge to remove one potential juror from a social media post she made after his 2020 election loss. Trump at one point spoke loudly and gestured while the judge questioned the woman, causing the judge to admonish the former president. All I can say is get ready, Judge. You're going to be doing that a lot. I don't know what he was uttering, but it was audible and he was gesturing. And he was speaking in the direction of the juror, Judge Juan Merchan said. I won't tolerate that. I will not tolerate any jurors being intimidated in this courtroom. If it was audible, I mean, I guess you mean you could hear he was saying something, but how could you assume what he was saying if you didn't know what he was saying? Not that I want to defend Trump. I mean, he should know better. It's not like this is his first court case, but that's weird. Prosecutor Joshua Steinglass took Trump's notoriety head on, telling would-be jurors that attorneys were not looking for people who had been living under a rock for the past 8 years. They just needed to keep an open mind. And I follow Glenn Kirshner on YouTube, Justice Matters, and that's what he's been saying. As long as you think you can keep an open mind, we're not looking for people who've never heard of Donald Trump, because that's not possible. I mean, I have spoken to this kid in Africa. He's heard of Donald Trump. Of course, at the time, he thought Donald Trump was awesome, but I quickly disabused him of that notion. But, yeah, basically, I just, if we were looking for someone who is living under a rock, there is nowhere in the U.S., definitely, where he could get a fair trial. Possibly in another country because they've heard of him, but they probably don't know as much about the case as we do. But still. This case has nothing to do with your personal politics. It's not a referendum on the Trump presidency or popularity contest or who you're going to vote for in November. We don't care. This case is about whether this man broke the law, he said. Which, yeah, exactly. Though Glenn Kirshner did point out that that popularity does have something to do with it. So, anyway, Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records as part of an alleged effort to keep salacious, and he says bogus, stories about his sex life from emerging during his 2016 campaign. Right, because that's exactly, you pay people off to keep fake stories from circulating. That's totally innocent behavior. Sure. Before entering the courtroom, Trump stopped briefly to address a TV camera in the hallway. Shocking. Repeating his claim that the judge is biased against him and the case is politically motivated. Whenever I read, it used to be just when I saw his face or heard his voice, but now reading the things he says makes me nauseous. When they aren't hurting my head because of pure stupidity on the level of child who's never read a book and has to give a book report on it. Like he just did with Gettysburg, but that's another video. This is a trial that should have never been brought, Trump said. Yeah, because you should have never done that stupid shit. After he went inside, reporters saw him wink at one of the court officers and mouth, "How are you?" while he walked down the aisle. Trump then took his seat at the defense table with his attorneys. I wish they would have said if that court officer was male, female, because it wouldn't surprise me if he saw a female court official who he thought was hot, and he would say something that would not surprise me in the least. Or he saw a court official who he thought could be MAGA. Who knows? With the trial expected to last for 6 weeks or more, multiple jury pool members brought up plans they have for Memorial Day and beyond. Mm-hmm. 6 weeks? I've heard 8 weeks, actually. One parent was excused Monday because of a child's wedding in late June. Another person was dismissed Tuesday because of a trip they had planned. Okay. That, I get that. Those are legit reasons, those were pre-planned. So obviously they can't. I heard Trump yesterday whining that he wouldn't be able to go to Barron's graduation. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure he had no idea it was even happening, let alone that he would go to it. This is just him using it as an excuse to whine. One man was excused after saying he feared his ability to be impartial could be compromised by unconscious bias from growing up in Texas and working in finance with people who intellectually tend to slant Republican. Well, I have to admit that that's quite some deep thinking, which I've heard that lawyers don't actually like that type of deep thinking anyway, so either way, they probably would have axed him. Because number one, he is aware that unconscious bias exists, but also the fact that, he brought up, I might be biased. So, yeah. Yeah, I can see why he was excused. I'm not sure that I can say beyond a reasonable doubt that I can be fair, another potential juror told the judge. I can try, but I'm not 100% sure I can be fair. She was also dismissed. It's just so sad that people who actually understand nuance and understand the complexities in human behavior and how people think about situations, that they're the ones who are being dismissed. But then again, we have a corporate lawyer, so definitely not what you would think of as a dum-dum. So who knows? One woman who said she disagreed with Trump's policies and sometimes finds herself frustrated by him pledged to be fair and impartial, telling defense lawyer Todd Blanche that she would give her level-headed best if she were picked for the jury. I didn't sleep last night thinking about I didn't sleep last night thinking about could I do that, she said. After another juror said she would be unable to serve impartially, Trump twisted in his chair, looking in the direction of the box. Through the first few minutes of the day, he appeared generally attentive, jotting down notes and raising sheets of paper to his face as jurors rattled off answers to a lengthy questionnaire. So was that other woman who said she disagrees with Trump's policies, was she excused? That's not clear. Trump broke into a grin, nodding his head in an exaggerated manner when another person said he had read 2 of the former president's books. What, he wrote 2? The Art of the Deal and How to Get Rich. The man who said none of his wife's family members are lobbyists for the Republican Party said he didn't think there was anything that would prevent him from looking at the case fairly. I feel that no one's above the law, he said. Well, that's a good stance to have. I mean, that, yes, I read his books, but that doesn't mean I couldn't convict his ass. That sounds fair. So I guess that she and he are 2 of the jurors selected? I don't know. This article isn't being clear. The charges center on $130,000 in payments that Trump's company made to his then lawyer, Michael Cohen. He paid that sum on Trump's behalf to keep porn actor Stormy Daniels from going public with her claims of a sexual encounter with Trump a decade earlier. Trump has denied the encounter ever happened. Prosecutors say the payments to Cohen were falsely logged as legal fees. The prosecution has described the money as being part of a scheme to bury damaging stories Trump feared could help his opponent in the 2016 race, particularly as Trump's reputation was suffering at the time from comments he made about women. And yet he still freaking won. And he was going against a woman. Oh my God. What is wrong with this country? Trump has acknowledged reimbursing Cohen for the payment and that it was designed to stop Daniels from going public about the alleged encounter. But Trump has previously said it had nothing to do with the campaign. Yes, he still hasn't been able to give us a good answer about that. I think he said something about it being to prevent Melania from finding out, but we know that's bullshit. More than half of the 96 people in the first panel of potential jurors brought into the courtroom Monday were excused after telling the judge they could not be fair and impartial, and several others were dismissed for other reasons that were not disclosed. So, this is the second panel of 96 then? In court papers filed Tuesday, prosecutors urged the judge to fine Trump $3,000 over social media posts they say violated a gag order limiting what he can say publicly about witnesses. In the post, Trump called Cohen and Daniels two sleazebags who have, with their lies and misrepresentations, cost our country dearly. Right. Prosecutors wrote that the judge should admonish Trump to comply with the gag order and warn him that further violations could be punished not only with additional fines but also jail time. Now, I've heard that the reason judges are afraid of doing anything, of Trump suffering any consequences for ignoring all the gag orders, is because they don't want him to become a martyr. Which, on the one hand, I get, but on the other hand, he's running off his mouth anyway, and people are flocking to him. So really, how could it be any worse? Famous last words, I know. If convicted of falsifying business records, Trump faces up to 4 years in prison, though there's no guarantee he will get time behind bars. Now, that's another thing that Glenn Kirshner said. This 4 years is curious because he's facing 34 counts of falsifying business records. So that would be 4 years per count. And I did the math, and that's 136 years, not 4 years. Trump's case involving allegations of election interference and hoarding classified documents could lead to lengthy prison sentences, but those cases are tied up with appeals or other issues that make it increasingly unlikely they will be decided before the election. And if Trump wins in November, he could presumably order a new attorney general to dismiss his federal cases. Which is why Georgia is so beautiful, because that's not a federal case. Neither is this one. These are not federal cases. These are state cases, and Trump can't do crap about those. Let's see if there's anything else I want to mention about this. Oh, yes, and the fact that there's no guarantee he will get time behind bars. I have no problem believing that. I really don't. Trump is slippery. So who knows what might end up happening. But anyway, I believe that is all I have. And this is the last, I think this is the last article for today. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.